All the hoes touch his sexy pteroid bono. Yes, he do. Put the T-Rex to shame. His pussy arms on that pussy frame. Oh, he is the motherfucking pterodactyl. Here to tear you a new asshole. Yes, it's true. He enjoys his hobbies too. He smokes his pipe, rollerblades, and finds ladies to woo. Oh, yes, it's true. He rode with the Triassic crew. That includes Lycosaurus and Plateosaurus too. Ooh, ooh, ooh. He is the motherfucking pterodactyl. Here to tear you a new asshole. Awkward on the floor, his feet are shit and his balance quite poor. He hooked up with a grizzly bear, they made love under the sea and everywhere. Yes, that bear, he birthed to a motherfucking pterodactyl who just might tear you a new. So beware, motherfuckers, beware. He is the motherfucking pterodactyl. He is the motherfucking pterodactyl. Remember him. Remember his song. Remember his tire iron and his enchanting thong. He's the motherfucking pterodactyl.
Hello everybody and welcome to Vinntrus Quest! As usual, we are unfortunately being subjected to the worst the internet has to offer, including the concept of shitty fanfiction as per requested by Vin. That was our intro song, the motherfucking pterodactyl. It was the only one I could really think of that would be fitting here. I have no response to this. Kadunta is going to be late, but with us today we have, It's a Glitch Thing.
Yeah.
And, of course, my lovely co-host, Miss Steam. I don't know what to say about this. I haven't read it. I read the first 4 lines, and I don't know what to do.
I lost faith in humanity.
As a side note about this book, because it is a book. This isn't just like a short story. This is a book. Keep in mind it's not super long. Let me check again. There's about 478 lines. But it's not free. Like, you cannot find this free anywhere. You have to pay for it. And because of the nature of it, and it was only bundled together with a 3 thing called Dinosaur Erotica, it costs money to buy this shit. I'm glad that the donations allowed for me to buy this chaos, because I don't like to disappoint. But just it was $6 for this shit. And now it is forever linked to me. I don't like the idea. I don't mind the idea of having to pay for it. Like, we do these because Vin donates money to us, and we're like, okay, fine, we'll read it. But it's more the fact that this is forever going to be something I have paid money for. Like, I have given legitimate currency to be tortured. I don't know how to feel about this. Admittedly, it is it's very different. So if we do want to get any guest readers in, feel free to hit up myself or Miss Steam while we're doing this. But it's time that we begin 50 Shades of Paleontology.
God damn it.
I had to grab this shit, right? I had to grab this and put it into paste bin because, like, I didn't want people to be forced to also purchase this book. Because I would have had to buy like 10 copies of it and pass it around, and then not everybody would have shown up. That said, I don't know if you guys are ready for this, but we're going to do this in a way of we're basically going to read till somebody gets like tired of reading, and then we're going to call out the line number, so the next person who wants to read can find it fairly easily. Like I said, it's on pacement, so everything's in lines. So it should be relatively easy. That said, who wants to start? I love how that was dead silence for like 4 solid seconds.
Glitch wants to start.
Oh, we're volunteering Glitch to start.
Yeah, Glitch wants to start. She said it
Do you
before.
have the text, Glitch?
I do have it up.
All right.
I'm blaming Vin because I volunteered as tribute for another thing, and then he posted this right after in the chat. I will find you and I will end you, Vin. My poor dinosaur.
As per Vin's request, apparently I have to start.
Okay.
All right. 50 Shades of Paleontology. And his grey-blue eyes lazily wandered over the exhibitions at the Careers Expo as she walked around it with her friends. It was far too early in the morning to be out and about, but they had insisted she go with them. I seriously doubt there'll be a single booth related to my field, she said, grumbling, slightly after her friend Chris hooked his arm in hers and pulled her along. Don't be ridiculous, he said. There are plenty here, and we'll give you an idea of where you can work when you finish. What do you have, one more year? Anna nodded. Just 2 more semesters and she would be finished with college. She had elected to follow her passions and study a double major in geology and paleontology. And while she had enjoyed nearly every minute of it, she hadn't thought about what exactly she would be doing when she finished. She had managed to get into a few archaeological field school digs over the vacation periods, but there would never be paying positions. They had always provided invaluable field experience, but at the same time they had been boring. All they had excavated was pottery shards and the odd sheep's bone. Ah, well, to be fair, the Scots know all about sheep bones, don't they? What she really wanted to do was dig up dinosaur fossils. Ever since she was a child, she had loved dinosaurs and everything to do with them. And while she knew paleontology was a difficult field to score a job in, she had high hopes, and there was just nothing else that really interested her. Hey, what about that? Her friend Rachel called from a few yards ahead. She pointed around and followed her gaze, gasping out when she saw the booth. It was being run by the Age of Dinosaurs Museum, her dream workplace. Dashing over to it, she smiled widely at the bored-looking young man standing behind the booth and asked for a brochure. Another slightly older man was sitting on a chair behind the booth, his dark eyes to eye her closely. Dark hair ruffled across his brow in a slight breeze, and his square jaw was firm. For a second, Anna forgot about all the reasons she had raced over the booth, and she lost herself in his eyes. The man was older than her usual type, in his mid-30s, but he was gorgeous. Here, the younger man said, his flat tone further betraying his boredom as he handed her a brochure. You're actually interested in all this old stuff? Old stuff! Even hearing him defer to dinosaurs and other antiquities like that made heat rising on his cheeks. And she turned her attention back to him, rolled her eyes. Behind the young man, the other man's nostrils flared in disapproval. Are you kidding me? I love dinosaurs! How could you not? She replied. The young man pursed his lips and arched his brows. I don't know, I guess none of that stuff interests me. Hey, if you love him so much, why don't you apply for the internship? Internship? He explained it all to her. One lucky student from a paleontology field would be given the position as an intern in the research department of the Age of Dinosaurs Museum, and they would aid the more qualified scientists in bone preparation and restoration work. 45, okay, Jesus Christ, I need a sec.
Oh, am I supposed to go now?
Oh yeah, no, it's all you.
Ah! Are you serious? Anna replied when he had finished. That sounds like my dream job. Seriously, how do I apply? You Oh, shit. You need to go for an interview at... What the hell? Even his
Kilio.
words. Huh?
Nice.
Kilio?
Keelier?
Kilio.
Whatever.
I'll just read it however the hell you want. It doesn't matter at this point.
I don't know English. Kiro Enterprises in the CBD. I can arrange it for you. I'll just need a few of your contact details. Noticing the confused expression on her face, he elaborated. The museum is owned by Andrew Keeler. Really? She replied, now more confused. Andrew Keeler was a billionaire businessman who owned almost every major building in the city they lived in, but she hadn't expected to hear that he owned the Dinosaur Museum. Although, come to think of it, I don't really know all that much about him, she thought, as she tried to recall the newspaper article she had read about him a while back. I actually think it's a museum of natural history, but okay, you do you.
Hey, Kadant.
Sup, bitches?
I'm going to slow down my reading because I'm having a dyslexic attack. All she really knew was that he was a very rich beyond her wildest dream. She had no idea what he looked like or anything, only that he was apparently quite young for someone so well. The young man had just opened his mouth to speak again when the older man behind him finally stood up and addressed her. Mr. Curio likes to interview each candidate for the museum personally, he said, his voice deep and smooth. He has a very personal interest in their research on dinosaurs. Oh, I didn't know that, Anna replied as her mouth dried up slightly. She hadn't been too worried about going to an interview for the internship, but an interview with a real-life billionaire? That was a different story. His eyes lingered on her for another moment before he turned to the young man. Jamie, could you arrange for this young lady to be interviewed? I believe this afternoon would be convenient, he said. With that, he stepped out from behind the booth and disappeared into the crowd. Anna watched him leave and then turned back to the young man, who she now knew was called Jamie. Doesn't he know Mr. Curler? Does he know Mr. Curler personally or something? She asked. He seems to know his schedule. I guess you could say that, Jamie replied, his eyes twinkling up at the corners. How is 2 o'clock this afternoon for you? That's great. And there's 3 stars. Someone go.
Okay.
79.
Should I read it then?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Earlier, Anna's heart had been racing with excitement at the prospect of scoring her dream internship. But as she stood outside the curved glass of Kate Enterprises, her heart raced with nervous anticipation. Instead, the main entrance, she took a deep breath, and her muscles ached with tension as she
Tension as she tentatively stepped towards it.
Thank you. Nothing had ever made her so nervous before, and as she tried her best to mask her feelings with a smile, she approached the main desk in the enormous lobby, and immaculately groomed red-headed women looked up and smiled. How can I help you? She asked. I'm here for an interview with Mr. Keelior. Anna replied, stumbling over her words slightly as her flattered. Anna Stedman. No.
Dead man. Faltered, by the way.
No, Stedman.
Jesus.
Say that 5 times fast.
Stedman. The woman arched an eyebrow and then glanced at her computer screen. I'll just need you to put this on, and then you can take the elevator up. As she spoke, she handed Anna a security pass. Anna accepted it and crossed the lobby. And 2 security guards in crisp suits the elevator door for her, smiling at them. The elevator words for the top floor. Her as it ascended. And finally a pinging noise alerted her to the fact that she had arrived. A flurry.
Which one are you on?
98.
Alright, Kadun, do you want to start at 98?
Yeah.
I can do that.
Glitch apparently gets nervous when they live.
No worries.
Live.
When should I stop though? After the 3 asterisk?
Whenever you want to pass it off.
Okay. So at 98?
Yeah.
A flurry of question raced through her mind as she stepped out and approached what looked like a receptionist's desk. What will he be like? Will he hate me? Do I even have a chance at this internship? Trying to push the questions aside, she waited for the pale blonde receptionist to finish on the phone, and then repeated what she had said to the redhead downstairs. Mr. Kellier will see you now. Please go through. She pointed to a dark wooden door across the room, and Anna clutched her handbag so tightly that her knuckles turned white as she walked over and pushed the door open. As she entered Mr. Calliore's office, her mouth fell open in surprise. There was a familiar face sitting behind the desk. It was the dark-haired man from the museum's expo booth. Good afternoon, Miss Steph, he said, his eyes crinkling up slightly as he smiled. Please, take a seat. He gestured towards a beige L-shaped sofa as he spoke, and Anna sat down, feeling slightly more comfortable now that she knew the billionaire was someone she had already met. Trying to hide her surprise as best as she could, she leaned down and pulled her resume out of her handbag. I'll take that, he said, getting up and striding over to her as she handed it to him. Their fingers touched together, and Anna felt a jolt of electricity surge down her spine, all the way to the tips of her toes. Anyway, as you know, I'm Andrew Kellior, he said with a hint of amusement as he sat down again. I already know from the expo that you are passionate about the field of paleontology, so I suppose I just need to ask a few questions about your background in academic history. Okay. Well, first things first, have you ever been to that Age of Dinosaurs museum? I assume you have. Yes, she replied, vigorously nodding her head as she spoke. It was my favorite place when I was a child. I always wanted to go on one of the night tours, but they closed them down a while ago. Ah, yes, the night tours. I was going to ask if you'd ever been to one of them. Unfortunately, they were not a good business decision. Not many people are interested in visiting a museum filled with old bones at night. Anna couldn't think why. I I know how to speak, I swear. She had been told that walking through the museum at night and looking at all the reconstructions in only the dim nightlights was an incredible experience, and her skin crawled with anticipation at the mere thought. Mr. Callior, may I ask you a question? Of course, he replied. Why are you so interested in dinosaurs? His lips curled and up into another smile. I've always loved them. A bit like you, I suppose. I've poured a lot of money into research at the museum, and I suppose I may as well tell you what our aims are. We aren't just trying to restore the fossils and reconstruct the dinosaurs' bodies. We're working with top scientists to actually extract DNA and clone them.
There are movies for this.
Yes. Did they not watch Jurassic Park? Like, seriously. There's an entire set of movies that explains why this is a bad idea.
There are
I will
7
say
movies,
something.
8 on the way.
People
Right?
were always so concerned about whether they could do something. They never thought to take what they should.
Exactly.
I
Jeff
will say
Goldblum was right.
this,
But I do want a
this-
pet raptor.
What's up, Steam?
Sorry, Steve.
I
What's going
will
on?
say this fanfic is more entertaining than the actual 50 Shades of Grey novel.
So far,
These people
I am-
actually have chemistry, which the original 50 Shades of Grey novel didn't have.
The original 50 Shades was nothing but abuse.
Yeah, it
Thank
was.
you.
yep.
I didn't even read it, nor watch the movie. I just know that.
I would say watch Noble's review series on 50 Shades Grey
Yes.
movie and books. They're amazing.
All right. We're 142, by the way, just so we know.
Okay.
Anna's mouth fell open again. To bring the dinosaurs back, she asked, her eyes widening. Yes, wouldn't that be incredible? Yeah, I guess it would be, she replied, mystified. Why would a billionaire care so much about bringing back dinosaurs? Surely there are many other things that are... Gods, why can't I talk? Sorry.
Doing better than me.
And me.
Many other things. Gods. Okay. Someone with that much money would rather do, she thought. His passion for paleontology made her feel more at ease with him, though, and she desperately hoped that she would get the internship. They went through her academic record and discussed the field schools she'd been to, and just as Anna was trying to find a way to put an interesting spin on the pottery fragments she had dug up, there was a knock on the door. A second later, the blonde receptionist poked her head through the door. Mr. Callior, I apologize, but Ross Wilkins is on the other line. He said he needs an answer about the Font-Knot merger right now. Mr. Callior sighed. I'm terribly sorry, Miss Stedman. This is a very important phone call. I wasn't expecting it for at least another half an hour. Would you mind if I left the room for just 5 minutes? No, it's fine, Anna replied. He hurried out of the room, and as she stared out of the window at the amazing view, her curiosity got the better of her. Dear fucking God's mouth, work! Okay. I swear I can English.
I can't.
Okay, it's because of the font. It's because of the font. My dyslexia is getting better, getting a hold of me.
It's page
Alright.
thin, man. There's nothing I can do about it.
Her curiosity got the better of her. What exactly does billionaire's computer screen look like? She glanced at the door to make sure it was shut, and then scooted over behind his desk. She knew it was wrong, but she wanted to know what sort of things a billionaire had up on his monitor. Porn? Only business stuff? Who knows? As she glanced at it, she saw that his emails were open. She couldn't help but read the first few lines. It was from the head of the security at the Dinosaur Museum, stating that the alarm codes had been changed. Underneath was a line of numbers, and having always had an excellent memory, Anna couldn't help but memorize them. As she hurried back over to her seat, ghost of an idea formed in her mind. Now I know the code. I could sneak into the museum for my very own night tour, she thought. No, I couldn't do such a thing. She was started out of her reverie. I read that correctly. Okay. She started out of her reverie a moment later by Mr. Kellior returning. Or Keylor? Is it? Am I saying it right? Am I even pronouncing his name right?
At this point, it doesn't
Keylor?
matter.
Okay. A dinosaur guy. A dinosaur dude. Okay. She was started out of her reverie a moment later by dinosaur dude returning. He apologized again and then sat down before running through a few more standard interview questions with her. All right, then, he said a few minutes later. I'll be sure to let you know whether the job is yours within the next couple of days. Do you have any questions? Crimson red blood rushed to Anna's cheeks as she looked at him. There was something she wanted to know, but she didn't dare ask. Come on, he said. I can tell there's something. Ask me anything. I promise I won't get offended. Okay. I don't mean to be rude. Fucking God, dyslexia! I don't mean to be rude or invasive, but I'm just wondering, how is it that someone so relatively young is a billionaire? He chuckled softly. I'm actually a lot older than I look. It wasn't a real answer, but Anna didn't want to press the issue. It was bad enough that she had even asked such a silly question in the first place. His financial affairs were simply none of her business, but she was glad he had made a little joke instead. Instead of taking it personally, I hate the way this thing is fucking written. Instead of taking it personally and kicking her out of the office for being so frightfully rude. She gave him a tight smile and then left his office, hoping that her question hadn't affected the chances of her getting the internship, but knowing that deep down that it had probably had. But I thought,
Oh, yeah, don't worry about it.
Three of us.
You can trade off whenever you want, Cadet.
It's the font! I blame the font! Write it in Comic Sans! That is
copy and paste it.
like that has been proven to help people with dyslexia. Read and understand and not stumble as bad fucking fuck. I swear, I know how to. I do things. I write books.
If you had a computer, I could transfer it all over to a WordPad document and put it in Comic Sans.
Well, you know what? I have a computer, but it is not with me at this moment, and it sucks anyway. So go fuck yourself, and you're talking about getting a computer and transferring to Comic Sans. Dear God, that's not what's happening right now. It's too late. It's too late. I didn't think this through. Okay, where were we at?
This is why
190...
92.
Yeah, 192.
192?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tread off of that, come on. Yes,
No,
it's
no,
been a
no.
while.
Nope, because the next thingy things is in 200. So, he can wait his fucking turn. Isn't that right?
Yes, that's fine.
Yes, you are. Yeah.
I can't. I almost took a drink of water and I almost spilled it all over myself.
No, it's okay. Just relax the throat and swallow like a good girl.
This is why I put my settings to like all the writing to just automatically come up as Comic Sans. Makes things so much easier.
I'm okay now.
So about riding that elevator.
Oh yeah. Let's talk about riding an elevator. Alright, so as she rode the elevator back to the first floor, she couldn't help but think of her earlier idea to sneak into the dinosaur museum. It's not like I'll get the internship anyway. You know what? This bitch really needs to fucking differentiate between thoughts and shit. Anyway, whatever. Fucking god cunt. Alright, it's not like I'll get the internship anyway, she thought. By asking him that stupid Question.
Go there.
He's probably automatically added me to his do not hire for being a nosy bitch list. I may as well go with that. She decided once and for all that she would use the alarm code to sneak into the museum and give herself a private night tour, as long as no one found out. Who could get hurt? Dot, dot, dot. Okay, next. Next, who's not like me, who's doing the...
Now, Anna dressed in a black sweater and black jeans and then packed the flashlight in her handbag just in case. She hadn't even left her house yet, and already she was trembling with a mixture of trepidation and anticipation. As she drove towards the Age of Dinosaurs museum, a few minutes later the anticipation began to outweigh the fear, and she pulled into the parking lot, casting her eyes over the area to see if she could spot any security guards. There was one smartly dressed guard standing by the main entrance, but didn't seem to care about his job all that much. From the glow on his face, it was clear he was playing games on his cell phone, and I didn't blame him. Not many people had tried to break into the dinosaur museum before, whether it was owned by a billionaire or not. She crept around to the side of the museum and hunted for some sort of staff entrance. Upon locating the door, she punched in the alarm code and breathed a sigh of relief as the red light turned green and the door swung open. She had been afraid that it might have been made some kind of noise that would alert the guard, but nothing seemed to have happened. Exhilaration washed over her face as she entered the museum and past the research laboratories. Figuring that the hallway would eventually lead to the main exhibits, as she finally arrived at the main exhibition hall, she drew in a deep breath and widened her eyes. The room was only lit by a couple of night lights, which cast ominous shadows everywhere, and she glanced at the reconstructions in wonder and arousal. And arousal's not in there, but I figured I'd put it in there anyway. To her left there was an enormous Dilophosaurus, and to her right stood a group of much smaller raptors. In the darkness they loomed out like real-life monsters, and her heart thudded in her chest as she took it all in. She could scarcely believe that she had the audacity to do something so bad, and yet here she was. Deciding to head to the other side of the hall where she knew the Tyrannosaurus Rex exhibit was kept, she turned around and carefully walked through the dark, pausing when she heard a strange sound. A dull roar seemed to be emanating from the hallway she had originally come down, and she turned her head over her shoulder as it became louder. Out of the darkness, a glowing pair of ember eyes emerged, and later a hulking beast stepped out of the corridor. Anna gasped at it. Unable to believe her own eyes, it appeared to be a T-Rex, but much smaller than the reconstructions would suggest. Still, it was much larger than her, and it stalked towards her. Adrenaline flooded into her veins as a fight-and-flight response kicked in. Whirling around, she ducked and weaved through the fossil exhibits as fast as she could, before bolting down a small hallway. Praying that it led out of the museum, she gasped in horror as she heard thundering footfall behind her, realising that the creature was catching up. Her stomach lurched as she pushed the door open and hurried into an unfamiliar room. As she turned to slam it shut, she caught another glimpse of the beast as it was chasing her. It was closer now. It seemed bigger than she had originally assessed, and its ember eyes burned with fury as it emitted a blood-curdling screech. Oh, that's a cadet moment. And I closed the door, locked it, and then darted her eyes around the room she was in. It appeared to be in her lab, and she decided to hide in a storage cupboard until the danger had passed. To her horror, she shut the cupboard door behind her. She heard the creature slamming itself against the lab door. Seconds later, the door crashed open, squeezing her eyes shut and barely daring to breathe. She resigned herself to the fact that she was going to be caught and eaten. Miss Stedman, I know where you are. Come on, get out here. Nothing's gonna hurt you. A familiar voice called out to her. Anna's eyes flew open. It had been a dream. There was no way this could be real life. First, something that appeared to be a dinosaur chasing her. And now, Mr. Gallagher was in the lab trying to coax her out of her hiding spot. She pinched herself on the arm and a sharp pain followed. It was no dream. This was all really happening. She pushed the cupboard door opening, dreading she would fall out, that she would face what, but knowing she had to. Mr. Kellier stood there watching as she emerged. His eyes were dark with anger as his jaw clenched. What do you think you're doing? He asked. I'm so sorry, Mr. Kellier. I just wanted to see the museum at night, and I set the alarm code on your computer, and I just thought I could come here and see it without anyone finding out, she replied, knowing she was babbling but unable to stop the words tumbling out of her mouth. And then I saw a creature. It looked like a dinosaur. It chased me here. His lips quirked up in a thin smile as she spoke. His dark eyes began to glow a bright amber, and it froze. Her entire mind seemed to go numb as she tried to comprehend what she was saying. That's right, he said, taking slow, precise steps towards her. It was me that you saw. I don't understand, she replied, her voice quavering. No, that's Quavering. That's quavering.
Quaver.
What are you? Her knees felt weak, and she knew that she would probably collapse in a second. Mr. Kellier's eyes blazed with an even brighter shade of amber, and he stopped dead in his tracks and he answered her question. How do you think I managed to get so rich, Miss Stedman? It's because I've had a very, very long time to acquire wealth. Millions of years, in fact. His voice was deep and crystal clear, and his heart pounded in her ribcage like the frantic wings of a trapped bird. He took one step closer to her and continued, I'm a were-dinosaur.
Oh my
Stedman, I can assume human for at will, but my true form is that of a small Tyrannosaurus. Why do you think I'm so interested in bringing back dinosaurs? I've needed a mate for 1,000,000 years, and I have waited and waited. But alas, none of the experiments are working. Thus, I need something else. 286. I'm gonna pass this on.
To who?
Well, we're just going down the line, so it looks like it's glitch.
Son of a!
You can do it.
I don't want it.
You can do it.
What does that mean? Anna asked, finally finding her tongue again. I don't wanna.
You gotta.
I don't wanna.
Spank you, woman.
Can I just stick with doing dinosaur noises?
No.
You got this, glitch.
Had to move my living room because my dad's in the living room. This is getting weird to more to a weirder point. So, it means that I have waited far too long. I will never have a dinosaur mate ever again, and I must look for a suitable human. Your scent is very special, Miss Stedman. Oh, hey, cat! My cat followed me into my room. Holy shit! She scared the shit out of me. I am desperately trying not to read this part.
288.
And I must find it. No, actually, I was at 289, so shush. You had me messed up. I could tell that from the Cause that's right, it is the font.
Of course. It's always the fun.
I could tell that from the first time I saw you this morning. Me? Yes, he growled. There was no important call this afternoon. I told my receptionist to say that there was, just so you would be left alone in the room long enough to start snooping around. I knew you would sit there, long coat, and I knew I lost my place. Holy shit! And I knew you would try to sneak in here eventually. I did not think you would do it so soon, but I really must commend your bravery. You set me up? Please tell who is talking. You freaking Arthur. Of course, now we are even. You cannot reveal my true nature to anyone, because I couldn't have you. Because I could have you arrested. Did you really think they're... The fuck? No,
No.
wait, where am I? Where
Did you
I?
really think there are no security cameras on the
What is
premises?
the line?
298.
Did you really think there are no security cameras on the premise? Anna's head spun with confusion and regret. How could she be so stupid? Of course there were cameras. Cursing herself. What the fuck are you doing, cat? My cat is trying to get on my back. Go away! Shoo! Shoo! I don't do this stuff with my cat. Cursing
it's called
herself.
paleontology. I thought it was called Jurassic Slut.
That would make a little more sense.
Same difference.
But anyways, cursing herself, she wondered what he meant by by her being a suitable mate. He couldn't possibly love her, could he? Her question was answered only a second later. Ichabod, go! Or someone else, go!
Oh, fine.
Please.
Fine.
Thank you.
Fine. I'll
Thank you.
spare you.
Thank you. I got to a weirder spot. Where's my cat at?
304, Steam.
304.
I know.
You
Actually-
did this to yourself.
I'm
Yes.
channeling my inner cringe. I'm channeling the inner Froman.
The inner what?
That's me, you don't want to know.
Okay then.
I need to mate with you. As he finished, his body began to twist and stretch as it underwent a terrifying metamorphosis.
Oh,
His
hold
clothes
on just a
hidden-
second. Okay, can we get a screech, kid? Oh,
Like enough?
anti-hero, if you want to come in, feel free.
His clothes and skin seemed to melt into the hide of a dinosaur formed, and in a breath, the dinosaur that had chased her earlier stood before her. It opened its mouth and let out a low growl. Done? And Anna gasped. It saw the rows of sharp
No.
teeth. Okay, sharp, permanently white teeth. And that whatever, white teeth that lined its jaw. The monster's arms were short, but
What line?
311
Terminated.
Yeah, Terminated.
in powerful claws, and she shrank back as it approached, eyes growling with passionate fury.
This is my glitch stuff.
I need you. Let me take you as my mate. What- Words flashed in front of her mind, and she realized that the dinosaur was communicating telepathically. Of course it is. Of course it is. The dinosaur has to be telepathic, otherwise the story won't make sense. As she started,
This is fine. This is fine.
it makes perfect sense. As she started at it, her heart slowed down a bit, like all dinosaurs. It really was a beautiful creature, and now that she knew it didn't, her internal terror was fading. I've always loved dinosaurs.
Oh my.
She chewed her lip and contemplated Mr. Dinosaur Man. Earlier words. Their dinosaur would be especially nice to have around.
Yeah, but not if it wants to fuck you.
Isn't that bestiality?
Oh yeah, that's hardcore bestiality right there.
I think she might be into the bestiality thing. Taking a deep breath, she gave him her answer. Yes, take me as your mate. The dinosaur vertical slit pupils dilated in arousal, and it sent her another telepathic message. First, good, but first, be punished for sneaking in here like this. I would just forget that. But you set me up. You set me up, she cried. But you took the bait.
Say it. Say it, Steam!
Still better than the Elysium books. Girl Anna, a good girl would never have looked at my computer.
Hold up, you kinda glitched there for a second. Say that again. Nice and loud so the mic picks you up.
Fine. You're a naughty girl, Anna. A good girl would never have looked at my computer or sneaked in here like this. I'm going to have to spank you.
Oh.
Happy now?
Okay, we absolutely have to get a screech for that particular line. Beautiful. We are at line 330.
I'll go back to it. The dinosaur swiped its claws at her clothing. They fell around her in shredded pieces, leaving her only her panties. That is some skilled dinosaur work there. Turn around and face the wall, the dinosaur commanded. She began to sweep through her body, filling her up with heat and panties. As she turned around,
I'm sorry, what? With heat and panties?
and dampening her panties.
Oh, okay. Dampening her panties. Fair enough.
Look at what it says.
I'm having flashback.
Flashback. NSFW warning for the rest of this, because, yeah, it's about to get really dirty.
Reasons why let's stop reading.
Sometimes you just gotta put panties inside a bitch.
Better than the original 50 Shades of Grey trilogy. Okay, let's see.
Still a better love story than Twilight.
Still a better story than any of Nission's books. Okay. As she turned around, she felt her...
Can we redact that particular word for, I don't know, cat?
Pussy!
Damn it! And we're demonetized. She felt her bare pussy lips almost sticking to her panties. There you go.
Ichabod.
What line? What line? What line?
If we were to remove that word, we would dilute the author's original intent. We can't do that.
Okay, well we're at line 334. Who are we at? If Steam's not done, then it's still Steam. But if she is, then it moves to Kadon.
I'm not done yet. Give me a minute. They were that wet already. Her nipples stiffened as they pressed up against the wall, and she knew it was mostly from the desire and not the cool temperature of the surface. There you go.
338, Kadon, it's all you. I'm not sure how I feel about this, but go for it.
I blame Vin. I volunteered for this by accident.
You did! Because somebody came in at the word pussy being screamed. Sorry.
Not sorry.
My
But actually, yeah, I think it is Cadet's fault.
It is totally Kadon's turn.
Not fault. Not her fault. Her turn.
I would never write such things as fucking a dinosaur.
I've read a couple. I've read a Nesion book, and I'm going to read 2 more.
Oh.
Oh God, what was that? Oh.
Miss Abigail.
Buttons donated and said, "I come to the word pussy being screamed. What the fuck?"
You're welcome.
Blame Vin.
Blame Vin. Vin. It's Vin. It's all Vin's fault. Hi, Button.
I blame Ichabod for taking. I blame you. I blame you.
I mean, at least it's not the Harry Potter one.
Wait, what?
I said, at least
we
it's not
read-
the Harry Potter one.
Isn't that mine?
We read the Harry Potter one.
I know, but at least that's over.
So
I
line
didn't see that.
338.
Actual 50 Shades of Grey.
I'm here because I made a deal with Ichabod.
All right, so line 338. Jesus Christ.
Seconds later, she felt the dinosaur's tail hook into the side of her panties, and her legs began to tremble as they were yanked down around her ankle. She stared down at the wall, bit her lip in anticipation, wondering if the reptile had noticed the wetness on her. Yelping as she felt his cool tail massaging her taut ass cheeks, she struggled and squirmed, deciding to play hard to get. She could hear the dinosaur breathing. She wondered if it was getting aroused at the sight of firm behind. It continued to knead the creamy flesh with his big tail, and then it sent her another mind message. Its voice, low, icy. You've been a very, very... I'm going to count as I spank. And 1 to 10, we'll see if you've had. His tail whipped back and then came down on her left ass hard. And Anna shrieked in pain. No, she's going to shriek like a fucking dog because she acted like a basic bitch. I'm just saying.
I mean, yeah.
1.
Oh.
She'd never actually been spanked before and had no idea what it would actually feel like when the dinosaur did it. She cried out again and began to whimper softly as it continued to count and rained down hard slaps on her ass, and she could feel her violated skin turning red. 6. It brought its tail down again, even harder, and this time it was mostly concentrated on her other ass cheek. It was spreading the pain out as much as possible, she realized, and she bit her lip again as it continued the spin. She had never felt this out of control, this dominating and helpless, and it was driving. 9. She cried out again. She cried out again, but this time it was only partly due to the stinging pain. Being spanked by the billionaire dinosaur, being spanked by the billionaire dinosaur was turning her on like never before, and she wondered if it could smell how aroused she was. After the 10th slap, it rubbed its tail all over her ass and then communicated with her again. Holy shit! No, wait! Real quick! Because I've read the 50 Shades of Grey shit. I was told it was good. I was told it was worthwhile. The dinosaur knows about aftercare, while the stupid, dumb cunt who wrote 50 Shades of Grey did not. You know, this guy who's like, I'm a dom, and, you know, I'm a billionaire dom, and I'm, you know, I take submissives and blah, blah, blah. But he never really, truly provided aftercare. Little fuck.
I feel like you're taking this a little more personally than you should.
No. I realized that this person knows more about BDSM than the person who wrote 50 Shades of Grey, the original story.
I concur.
Yes.
Should I keep going?
That's
Should I pass
entirely
this
up
on?
to you.
Because
I'm just imagining Goofy being spanked by a dinosaur at this point. Did you go to the "was that enough for you sorry yet" point?
that is actually exactly where I'm at.
All right, I will read the next line and then we can go back to you, okay?
Okay.
Just because I have to solidify this in my mind. No, Mr. Kellier, she said breathlessly, I'm not sorry. There you go, now it's back to you.
What did I sign up for?
Goofy being spanked by a dinosaur is what you signed up for.
I
I
regret
need
life
an
decisions.
adult.
I have an art idea now.
We are adults, aren't we? We are adults.
Yeah.
Do you want to pass it off, Kadant?
I could never go to Disneyland again. Now I'm gonna start imagining Goofy being spanked by the T-Rex from a Toy Story.
I've seen an additional. No, I'm sorry. I've seen an official Disney animated clip where Goofy vores Mickey and Minnie, so nothing can break me on those characters.
Anyway, Jesus.
I apologize.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and pass. Oh, she said next. So, anti-hero, that's you. Oh, I'm sorry, anti-raptor.
Oh. Yes, today I'm anti-rap. Can we hear me all right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, good.
Actually,
it's a little
can I
glitchy
say
on my
something?
end. I want to make sure.
My fault.
So
I
what,
was just-
what exact line are you at? 369.
We are at 369, yes, which is ironic,
Oh,
but continuing.
What a place to start. All right, let's get down to business.
Jesus.
The heat inside her was beginning to turn into a raging fire deep within, and she wanted more punishment from the sexy dinosaur. Really? It asked. And even though she couldn't see it, she could tell that it had a smile on its reptilian face. You want more? Yes, she begged. She gasped as it brought its tail down again and again, and acting almost on instinct, she began to squirm against the wall, trying to rub herself forward and back over the cool surface. It was difficult, but it was enough to start the process of turning that warm tingling between her legs into something more.
Jesus.
Her now engorged clit throbbed, and she desperately wanted to reach down and rub it as the dinosaur continued her punishment. Finally, the spanking was over, and she turned her head and looked at the reptile over her shoulder. As its eyes lingered on her red, violeted ass cheek, it saw her spread her thighs, and it noticed that her pussy lips were glistening with moisture. My, what do we have here? It asked softly, leaning down and very gently sliding a claw between her legs, trailing it gently up and down her warm pink so as it felt the wetness that covered her lower lips.
Oh,
An
God.
urge to feel and taste the dinosaur's cock suddenly overwhelmed Anna's mind, and she turned around and sank to her knees, gasping as she drew her head to eye level with its throbbing shaft. She had seen quite a few cocks in her time at college, but never one as big as this. This was going to be a whole new experience for her. It was long, thick, and a slightly darker shade of brown than its leathery skin. And she slid her mouth over the bulbous head, wondering how it would ever fit inside her when it came to mating time. The dinosaur growled with approval, and she began to flick her tongue deftly around the frenulum before sliding more of its length
What
down
the fuck is a frenulum?
Let me use my good old friend Google.
Please.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead and Google that.
No.
Go ahead, Auntie. I'm sorry.
Keeping a firm grip.
I already
on the-
know, and it's a good thing we're already demonetized.
A
Keeping
small,
a firm. Go ahead.
a small fold or ridge of tissue which supports or cheeks the motion of the part to which it is attached. In particular, a fold of skin beneath the tongue or between the lip and the gum.
Okay, then.
It's the part that keeps the foreskin attached to the penis.
Moving on.
It's the part that feels really good when your girl tongues it. Or guy, if that's your flavor. Anyway.
That's funny.
Keeping a
See, so
firm
stop working.
grip. Keeping a firm grip on the base of the shaft with one hand, she stroked it up and down as it disappeared into her mouth, inch by inch. She moved her head faster and faster, taking more and more of it into her throat with each bobbing movement and still stroking up and down his shaft with her hand. The dinosaur continued to growl softly and thrust its body forward so that she was swallowing nearly all of it. And she increased the suction that she was using with her mouth until she felt its scaly legs start to tense. Seconds later, it let out a screech and jerked forward a bit, rewarding her efforts by spurting a torrent of its hot, salty cum deep in the back of her throat. Anna swallowed as much of the fluid as she could, smiling as she realized that she now knew what dinosaur cum tasted like. And then she looked up at the creature. She parted her lips slightly and ran the tip of her tongue across them, and she knew that it could see a small amount of its white cum still on it. "You're still a very naughty girl," it said. "Stand up." Now I can continue. I have no problem with that. But I don't want to deprive anyone. So if somebody wants to jump in, go ahead.
Next in the line is Bridge.
Hang on, I lost my space.
There's
And I
409.
Yes, no, I see where it is.
cl-
I'm worried that I might glitch out. So tell me
Not
if
my
you started
fault.
the glitch.
Can I
Alright.
make
What's
one
up,
small
Kadan?
commentary?
Mm.
I just want to say that this is far better written than 50 Shades of Grey, and I don't think this should be called 50 Shades of Paleontology. I'm okay with this story so far. It is doing way better. It is far more interesting, and I don't know about any of you, but I am wondering what the size of the dinosaur penis, and on top of that, the taste of dinosaur cum seems very similar to human. So, interesting.
thing is that
My dragon.
I think it's better written. The pacing is pretty good for a fanfic, and the characters have chemistry and actually has a basic understanding of BDSM.
You guys keep saying this, and I understand where you're going with this. But on the other hand, it's a fucking shape-shifting billionaire dinosaur.
I fuck it.
I think I missed
Millions of years old.
I just want to throw that out there. It's a billionaire, apparently shape-shifting fucking dinosaur.
And she's about to fuck it in dinosaur form. She sucked its dinosaur dick. She didn't even she's just like, no, it's not the human penis that I care. I just want to know what your dino dick tastes like.
She was very adamant about this is a dinosaur schlong. Like, there was no hesitation. She's like, this image is in my head. Allow me to deep throat this dino D.
Alright, giddy up, 409.
Y'all are sitting here going, oh, it's been written so well. It's a shape-shifting billionaire dinosaur that she just swallowed down a load.
Listen,
Did you miss the Harry Potter one?
Okay, 409, please, let's get a little bit further before I want to die.
Okay. More than glitch already does.
Hey, Bud, you are going to echo, though, if you talk or read.
Yeah, I know. 409.
Okay. As she rose to her feet, the dinosaur's tail flicked around and gently pushed her legs apart before parting her slick fold and sliding up and down with delicate precision. It eventually settled on her hard clit and began to stroke over and around it, and Anna's mouth dropped open as her chest rose and fell in quick, short breaths. The reptile was... No, you have to do it with quick, short breaths there, Ichabod. There you go. The reptile was driving her wild with its tail, and she needed more to put out the fire in her belly. Do you think you're ready to mate with me? Anna nodded her head as her pressure began to build within her core. Then the dinosaur cocked its head to the side. I don't think you are ready just yet. Its words made her long feel its cock, and she squirmed position, trying to increase pressure it was using on her clit as its tail slid up and down. Her legs trembled uncontrollably as it traced tantalizing circles over and around it, and her heart began to beat wildly in her chest as ripples of pleasure shot through her. You smell so good. Your scent of arousal is intoxicating, it growled. The words were enough to send Anna careening over the edge, and the pressure exploded out of her wildly, filling her with hot ecstasy as she was dragged over an invisible peak. She was barely aware of the sounds she was making, primal and almost guttural moans as their climax washed over her in waves again and again.
I can't look at Goofy the same way.
And as her eyes began to focus again, she heard the dinosaur's grapple. Goosebumps broke out over her skin, and the dinosaur's tail slid further down between her legs and felt the warm wetness surging down and out from there. Now you are ready. Get on the floor on your hands and knees. Anna obliged, and as she turned onto her hands and knees and arched her back, she looked back over her shoulder, watching as the dinosaur's amber eyes burned with arousal. It crouched down behind her and then mounted her, and she gasped as it rubbed the bulbous head of his cock. Wait, as it rubbed the bulbous head of his cock? Okay. There's a sudden pronoun shift there. Against her wet slit. Wondering how on earth it would ever fit inside her.
Just for a momentary point. Let me check again.
How big a dinosaur penis is? Because, I mean, seriously, you'd think that thing would
Hang on.
More like human thigh sized or bigger. Probably bigger. It's like a body pillow.
Wait,
Okay, so looking it up, a 40-foot-long Tyrannosaurus Rex therefore may have a 10-inch penis or a 12-foot-long one.
Well, hold up. I thought this was a raptor.
No, this is a tiny
small
Tyrannosaurus, so we're looking at roughly
Okay, well,
about 3 to 6 feet.
okay, so it's the size of roughly the size of a Deinonychus or a Velociraptor. It's human-sized.
I didn't write this
You need
drivel.
to look at- So you need to look at Deinonychus dick, not a T-Rex dick.
Oh my god, how do you spell Deinonychus?
So, D-E-I.
N-O-N-Y-C-H-U-S.
U.S. Yes, Deinonychus.
Okay, Deinonychus
You need to go look up
penis size.
Deinonychus.
How do you say that?
how do you feel that we've
Not
got
T-Rex tonker. Deinonychus dick.
Well, can I just say that maybe the reason why he was unable to ever get a dinosaur before they'd all gone away, stuff like that, was for his side and his breed. He had a small dick because there are guys that micro penis is a thing, so he could have in respects to dinosaurs a micro dick.
You only need 2.5 inches to get finished with your business. That's all I'm saying,
Okay.
alright?
So here is the answer I'm seeing. There's no such thing as a generic standard-looking penis. Most of them get erect by pumping fluid into their penis like a giant water balloon. All the birds with penises do it that way, so it'd be pretty weird if dinosaurs evolved this very odd way of doing boners. And then their descendants go to go back the other way. Birds have penises that have a flap of skin on the side that they put lymph into, and that kind of eject it out. Some ducks have a super long corkscrew penises that shoot out as fast that you would need a high-speed camera to capture them
There's
unfurling.
video.
Yes, there is a video of the duck penis explosion.
No, we're not doing it. We're not.
We're not pulling that up. Yeah, we're not pulling that up. But from what I'm seeing, at this size, like a Deinonychus or whatever, we're looking roughly anywhere from 2 feet to 7 feet.
He
And
still
then,
could have a micro penis.
That's still 2 feet.
I
She's
just want to
about
ask.
Okay, so
Wow.
maybe we're looking at a 1 foot Pringle can if it's a micro penis for that type of dinosaur.
So, if he fucked her in the ass, she'd taste his pre-cum before she felt it in her.
Okay, and we are on what line?
It's more like the actual like that dildo Ichabod keeps.
And 438. We are moving on from Branch.
Fine.
Oh god, that means it's me.
I
I was.
just want to
Go ahead.
ask. You've gotten to the point in your career where you're looking up dinosaur dicks.
It was so long and thick that she barely had been able to fit it in her mouth minutes earlier. Her entire body suddenly felt weak, and then a fiery pain surged through as it thrust into her for the first time, with just the very tap. It growled again and drove its cut forward all the way into her wetness, making her squeal. And a mixture of pain and pleasure. It hurt, but the idea of being fucked by a dinosaur was driving Anna wild, filling her with sensual bliss that she had never known the likes of before. Finally, the pain gave way to pleasure, and she felt her cheeks turn cherry red as the dinosaur slid in and out, stretching her almost beyond her limits as it growled and grunted behind her. "You're perfect for me," it said, withdrawing almost all the way out so that only the head was left in her before plunging all the way back in. Anna swore that she could see a white hot flash in front of her eyes as it drove its cock into her sopping wet pussy, and then she could feel every vein and ridge of it filling and stretching her as its pure masculinity overwhelmed her mind. The room seemed to melt and fade away around her as it started to pound into her even harder and faster this time, and it let out a series of screeches. And then it growls as its helpless sounds of pure ecstasy fell from her mouth. With each of this relentless movement inside her, she screamed, "Go!" But she barely even registered making the sounds. Her mind was elsewhere, swept into the sensual bliss it only come from fucking a billionaire dinosaur! Reaching down, she struck between her legs as the dinosaur continued to slam into her pussy with idle abandon. She felt another flood of heat ecstasy building her core. The dinosaur began to thrust even deeper within her, popping straight out of her mouth, and she screamed and whimpered with delight, suddenly weak from all the pleasure. As another orgasm crashed over her, she shuddered with tremendous fulfillment, and the dinosaur let out a blood-curdling shriek before plunging all the way in and spurting everything it had into her.
Hold on. I thought a blood-curdling shriek was something that actually curdled the blood. That dinosaur just sounds like it's fucking dying.
Then you do it!
I don't shriek. I have testicles.
What does that have to do with anything? You want me to kick you?
And then
Punch yourself in them, then shriek.
gasped as it withdrew from her a moment later, and then rolled onto her back as she felt its sticky white seed coating the walls of her pussy before out of her eyes. In another breath, the dinosaur was gone, and Mr. Keelier was back. "I knew you were the perfect mate for me," I said, yanking her to her feet and looking straight into her eyes. Anna smiled and stared back. "What about the internship?" she asked, I guess I won't be getting it now that I've broken into the museum like this. He growled and wrapped his arms around her before replying. On the contrary, the job is yours. I will use any excuse to keep you around me. After all, now that I've found you, I will need to mate with you often. Anna's smile grew wider as she realised what was happening. Not only had she scored a dream job, but she had also scored a billionaire dinosaur who wanted to keep her around forever as a mate. Life couldn't be any better. And that is the 478 lines of 50 Shades of Paleontology.
I now have a question.
You're welcome.
Does that mean she's pregnant with human, half dino things?
I don't want to know the answer to that question.
I kinda wanna.
Are you sure you want to know? Because there's another one of these.
No!
There's two. This was the second one.
I'm sorry, what?
This was the second one.
No.
Oh my god. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, which I hope you're not watching this if you are children of any age, especially considering the content, I am gonna have to, like, adult this stream later on. I'd like to thank you all for tuning in to this week's episode of Vinntrus Quest. Vin, why have you done this to us?
Vin, what's up with next week? I can send you a thing. I can send you something, Vin.
Vin's just dying over
Vin,
here.
Vin, hit me up in DMs. I got some ideas for you. You'll like it. It'll be
I
fun.
can send you a drunk fanfic.
Actually, Vin,
Oh, I'm drunk right
I-
now, so I'm
Vin, I definitely have something for you.
How do you
You'll
find
need
this stuff?
You'll need to pay Ichabod
Oh,
a
this
considerable amount of money for the one I have in mind. But believe me, it's worth it.
How do you find this stuff, man?
Oh, I found this thanks to Ren.
Yeah, this was a Revelations one.
Vin, if you're willing to put some money down on the book itself, we might be able to get Ichabod to read something truly awful.
Y'all know my price. Don't fucking judge me.
What's the price?
$20.
Anyway, I kept my end of the bargain, now he has to keep his.
My throat hurts.
Yeah, come on, now you have to read an Onision book. Now
Yes,
you have to read
I
a book
know.
By the Onion Man.
Well,
man
I'll
of
help you,
onion.
Ichabod.
Your
Thank you.
throat
Ichabod, if you need assistance,
hurts.
I'll help you.
I bet his throat
Yours
doesn't hurt
might
as much as hers does.
Dear fucking God, do you know what it takes to do those goddamn screeches?
Yes, I know your throat hurts too.
I'll pick up with steam.
It's really hard.
No, that's not me. I can't make those noises.
I did my own version of dinosaur screeches, but
You did know they were good too.
I tried to help. I tried to take it off.
Actually,
Whimpers,
can't screech.
pain. Why did I offer to do the screeches? Why?
At least I got to read something.
Do you want
At
a
least
cookie?
Ichabod did the goofy noises. Those were great.
I can't look at Goofy anymore. But do you want a cookie?
You
Chocolate chip, please.
No, give you a chocolate cookie.
Well, that's okay, Mr. Kilgore. Why don't you just rail me in the ass?
Oh my gosh. Leave knockoff Chris Pratt out of this.
See, the worst part about all this is that after he impregnates her pussy, she discovers that he's able to impregnate her asshole, and the whole cycle starts all over again.
I can't tell if you're joking.
I'm not.
Okay, so there needs to be an artist because I'm not going to do it.
I'm dead on the
There needs to be an
inside.
artist who draws a female
Dead on the
Goofy.
inside and the outside.
Never mind.
Why don't you ask
Steve
Samaj?
has a great idea.
God. Oh my
Why don't
God.
you ask
I think
Samaj?
Hey,
Why not?
Steam, what were you saying? Because it's hard to hear you, hon.
I was saying that a female, like a gender-bent Goofy, being spanked by a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Tyrannosaurus.
The only thing I'm thinking of it for and Goofy is just Goofy in a wig.
Just
Rest.
Nothing different, just a wig.
Cadunt, and I think
Yeah.
Ichabod knows this one too. Green Chill Zone made a reference. He says,
Oh
"Some
yeah, no, I know.
grab a
Love
friend,
Beyond
read this
Circuits.
one Star Wars fan fiction that includes a detailed description of Optimus Prime's anus." I think we've read
Soft,
that before.
We
pinky
need to get
pillows
Christ during
of
that
of
episode.
pure petunias cotton.
Love
Did
Beyond
they-
Circuits, love Beyond Flesh.
Did someone write a
Yes.
fan fiction
We
about?
need to have Optimus Christ to do that.
Did someone write a fan fiction about me? Is the day I'll die.
Steam, you're under the assumption.
Writing immediately.
Hold up, Steam, you're under the assumption there isn't already fan fiction of you out there somewhere.
Wait, what?
That probably is.
I'm actually
See, I
terrified.
can say that there will be now.
Cadunt,
Sure.
hold
Just
up.
like there is fan fiction of Ichabod.
I will put it this way. Cadunt, if you want to write it, and Vin wants to do the pain, we can
Wait.
read it on air.
Hang on. I got one.
I feel
I
like I'm
got
just the taskmaster cracking the
a
whip.
single
Read
requirement.
this.
If you're
What
going
is
to do
your
this,
requirement?
that you add Ichabod and Arcata in there too, because I'm not going down alone.
You think I won't?
Well, hold on. You will be the only one going down because you'll be the girl in the story.
Actually, no. Not the only one. I'm just saying.
Oof.
In my weeb
Cadunt,
years, I was a major fan of Yaoi.
Oh
Alright. So did you at least like it, Vin?
That was infinite evil after. But yeah, I can see this happening. Cad, you and me really are crowing those horns right now.
Jesus. Alright, ending out the show finally, because now it's time. Ladies and gentlemen, remember that it doesn't matter what flavor you are, it's Citrus Quest you belong. I will see you guys next time, and here is your outro song, which I have picked specifically for this occasion, because I had a feeling it was going to be bad.
Die, potato, die. I baked you a pie.
Oh boy, what flavor?
Pie.
Dad, I'm hungry.
Pie hungry, I'm bad.
Why did you name me this way? Why?
I'm gonna do an internet. Well, I'm gonna do a fork. You're leaving